My parents dumped me at 15 on my grandparents' farm, but years later they returned demanding a place in the life I'd built. Reddit stories. They left me with one backpack and a lifetime of blame, convinced I'd stay broken and grateful. But the farm rebuilt me, and when they came back claiming authority, they had no idea who they were talking to anymore. My dad believed my brother's lies for years, but the night he threw me into a blizzard bleeding everything finally broke open. Reddit stories. I was 13, half frozen in the Michigan dark while he locked the door behind me like I wasn't his child. That was the night the truth about my family finally tore itself out into the open, and nothing stayed hidden after that. Hey, I'm Hunter. 18 now. But the night everything snapped open and the truth about my family detonated, I was 13, bleeding onto a kitchen floor while a Michigan blizzard screamed outside. But let me rewind a bit before we get to the part where my dad literally threw me into a storm like a bag of garbage he was done with. From the outside, we looked normal enough. Dad owned a body shop, small place, but he bragged about it like it funded NASA. Smelled like paint thinner, anger, and cheap coffee. Mom did bookkeeping, kept the bills paid, kept the peace, kept the house from collapsing under the weight of Dad's moods. And then there was Damon, 17, charismatic, golden child, liar extraordinaire. The type of kid who could break a window, hand you the rock, and Dad would thank him for being honest about it. It wasn't always like that. When I was little, Damon and I were just brothers. Bikes, slushies, video games until someone yelled at us for being too loud. Normal. But as he got older, he discovered he had a superpower. Lie. Point at me. Get believed. Walk away clean. It started small, missing cash, a dent in the truck, a broken lamp. Every time. I saw Hunter do it. Every time, Dad believed him. I learned to take the hit silently. Trying to defend myself just made Dad angrier. He'd grab the back of my neck, shove me into walls, get in my face, and yell until spit hit my cheeks. Mom would pull him back, but she never stopped him. Not really. Not enough. By 13, I had a notebook with 42 documented lies Damon pinned on me. Dates, times, punishments. Proof that my life had become a courtroom where the verdict was always the same: guilty. I didn't even bother fighting it anymore. Then December came. Snow thick as carpet. Mom left for Grand Rapids because Grandma was in the hospital. That left me alone with Dad and Damon for a full week. The house got darker without Mom in it. Even the walls seemed to brace for impact. On Thursday, Dad came home early, always a bad sign. I heard my name, not spoken, but bellowed, the kind of sound that makes your insides shrink. I walked upstairs and saw the war zone already staged. Damon on the couch doing his best tragic hero face. Dad pacing like a bomb about to go off. And on the coffee table, Grandpa's watch. The Omega Seamaster Dad kept locked away like a holy relic. Shattered crystal, twisted band, dents everywhere. Destroyed. Hunter, he growled. You think you can steal from me? Break the last thing my father left me? My brain blanked. I didn't touch it. Dad leaned in, face red and shaking. Damon saw you. Yesterday. Coming out of my room. And there it was, the lie that would almost kill me. Damon didn't even look ashamed. He looked bored. I tried to explain. I'd been in the basement all yesterday, practicing drums. Dad didn't hear a word. He grabbed my arm, squeezed hard enough to bruise, and shoved me toward the stairs. Upstairs. Now. Before I decide what to do with you. And that was the moment I realized something terrifying. Damon wasn't just lying for convenience anymore. He was escalating. And Dad was ready to believe anything that hurt me. I didn't know it yet, but the next 48 hours would break the entire family in half, and my mother would return just in time to burn the other half to the ground. I barely slept that Thursday night. I lay on my bed staring at the ceiling, ribs aching from where Dad shoved me, trying to piece together how Damon had even gotten the watch. Dad kept it in a locked box in his closet. Key on his keyring. Damon either stole the key or picked the lock. Either way, he planned this. And he smashed it. On purpose. With a hammer, according to the jeweler Dad would call the next day. All to frame me. Friday morning, Dad didn't even let me go to school. I was on house arrest. Room only. Bathroom breaks timed like prison. I listened to everything happening downstairs. Dad ranting into the phone with jewelers. Dad cursing about money. Dad complaining about the shop. Damon playing the perfect son, cooking for him, offering to help. Dad praising Damon for being responsible and trustworthy. Around noon, I heard Dad say it. She says Hunter didn't do it. Says Damon must be lying. He was talking to Mom. My throat tightened. Even from 4 hours away, dealing with her dying mother, she still knew me better than Dad ever tried to. But instead of calming him, that made him angrier. She's taking his side, he snapped. She always coddles him. I'm sick of it. Footsteps thundered up the stairs. My door flew open so hard it hit the wall. Downstairs. Now. My stomach dropped. He was vibrating with rage, face red, jaw clenched, fists already balled. Damon stood behind him, arms crossed, playing the helpless bystander. When I reached the kitchen, Dad pointed at the smashed watch like it was a corpse. You're paying me back every cent, he said. Every dollar you ever earn until this debt is gone. I didn't touch it. Wrong answer. He grabbed my shirt collar and slammed me into the refrigerator so hard my teeth clicked. My ears rang. Before I could inhale, he hit me, open palm across the face. Hard enough my vision went white. Then he switched to fists. Ribs. Stomach. Shoulder. Face. Every hit shook something loose inside me. My legs buckled. I curled up, tried to protect myself, but he yanked me up by my hair and threw me into the cabinets. I remember the sound. I remember the floor bouncing under me. I remember Damon's eyes, wide but excited. I remember the taste of blood. At some point my body just gave up. Stopped fighting. Went limp. That didn't stop him. He hit me again. And again. And again. Then finally. Get out. I blinked through swelling eyes. What? Out of my house. Now. Before I kill you. He opened the front door. A wall of snow blew inside. You wanted to destroy something of mine? Fine. Now you're gone. It's a blizzard. Should have thought of that before you stole from me. He shoved me out into the snow and slammed the door while I was still trying to stay upright. The wind hit like knives. Snow was already past my ankles. Temperature felt like it was below zero. I stood there shaking, frozen, bleeding, ribs screaming, waiting for the door to open again. It didn't. The deadbolt clicked. And that was the moment it truly sank in. My father had just tried to abandon me in a blizzard. Over a lie. His favorite son's lie. I couldn't stay there. I couldn't go back. So I looked down the street, vision blurry, breath burning, and picked the only direction that led to life. Leo's house. 8 blocks away. 8 blocks in a Michigan whiteout with cracked ribs and no hat. I took the first step. Then the second. And I kept walking. Because if I stopped, I'd die. And if I died, Damon would win. By block 4, I couldn't feel my fingers. By block 5, I couldn't feel anything except the stabbing pain in my ribs every time I inhaled. Snow plastered my eyelashes. The wind kept shoving me sideways like it wanted me to stay down. Somewhere between block 6 and 7, I genuinely thought. Maybe dying wouldn't be the worst thing. It was quiet. Cold. Almost peaceful. Like sleep. But then I pictured Damon's face. Smirking. Victorious. Telling everyone I ran away or couldn't handle the consequences. No. Not like this. I forced myself upright and kept going. Leo's house appeared through the snow like a blurry, glowing square in the distance. My legs didn't so much walk as collapse forward repeatedly until I hit the front steps. I banged on the door with numb fists. Bang. 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 The door jerked open. Leo's dad, Carl, filled the doorway. Big guy. Construction worker. Hands like cinder blocks. His eyes widened. Jesus Christ, Hunter! Next thing I knew, I was inside, boots kicked off, wrapped in a blanket, the room spinning while someone yelled for towels. Leo's mom crouched in front of me. Honey, who did this? I opened my mouth, but the words felt stuck in my cracked ribs. Dad, I finally rasped. He threw me out. Carl's face changed. Not shock. Not confusion. Something colder. He stood up so fast his chair tipped. I'm calling the police. No, please. Yes, he said firmly. This ends tonight. He made the call. I half listened from the couch. Yes, this is an emergency. 13-year-old boy. Assault. Visible injuries. Father is the aggressor. Yes, we have him here. Yes, he's safe. Safe. First time anyone had said that word about me in years. When the police arrived, the female officer knelt beside me gently, like touching a wounded animal. Hunter, sweetheart, can you tell me what happened? So I did. Everything. The lies. The watch. The beating. The snow. Her jaw tightened with each detail. Then came the question. Has he done this before? Not like this. Not this extreme. But enough. So I nodded. She wrote something in her notebook that made the male officer curse under his breath. Leo's mom took pictures of my injuries while the officers spoke with Carl. They asked if I had somewhere safe to stay. Carl answered before I could. He stays with us tonight. And tomorrow. And as long as he needs. The police left. The house got quiet again. Leo sat next to me on the couch. Didn't say anything. Just handed me a controller. Wanna play? He asked softly. I nodded. It was the first normal thing that had happened all day. But the real earthquake hit the next afternoon. Mom drove home in a storm she should never have been driving in. She walked through Leo's front door still wearing her coat, eyes wild, hair unbrushed, hands shaking. She saw me. Her face broke. Oh my God, Hunter, baby, look at you, what did he do to you? She knelt and cupped my swollen cheek with trembling fingers. Not scared. Not hesitant. Then she stood up slowly. And I swear the temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. She reached into her purse, pulled out her phone, and said, I am calling a lawyer. I am calling CPS. I am calling the police department. And when I'm done... She looked toward the direction of our house, voice low, steady, lethal. I'm going to burn your father's entire life to the ground. That was the moment everything shifted. That was the moment I realized my mother wasn't powerless. She'd just been waiting for the moment she could destroy him legally and completely. And she was about to teach my father what a real reckoning looked like. Mom didn't go home that night. She didn't sleep. She didn't sit down. She just worked the phone like she was running a war room. I listened from Leo's couch, wrapped in blankets, body throbbing with every breath. Call 1. Her divorce lawyer. File immediately. Emergency custody. He beat my son and threw him outside in sub-zero weather. No, I am not waiting. File it tonight. Call 2. CPS. Yes, I can give a full statement. My son is with a safe family. No, he is not going back there. Ever. Call 3. The police sergeant. Officer Ramirez took my son's report. I want charges pursued. Full charges. Her voice was shaking, but not weak. No, this was rage focused into something surgical. Call 4. The hospital in Grand Rapids where her mother was being treated. My mom is stable? Good. My son isn't. I'll come back when he's safe. Call 5. Someone I didn't recognize. But I'll never forget what she said. Freeze every joint account. Freeze the credit lines. He is not clearing anything out before the divorce filing hits his doorstep. She hung up, took a breath, and then she walked over and sat beside me. Hunter, she said softly, I'm so sorry. And I believed her. Not like when people say it as a reflex. She looked hollow, furious, ashamed, like she was ready to tear her own heart out for letting this happen. I should have protected you better, she whispered. I should have stood up to him years ago. I should have listened every time you tried to tell me something was wrong. I shook my head, ribs aching with the movement. It's not your fault. Yes, she said firmly. It is. I kept hoping things would get better. I kept hoping your father would calm down. I kept hoping Damon would grow up. And while I was hoping, you were getting hurt. Her hands curled into fists. No more hoping. Now I act. By the time morning hit, the legal grenade she'd pulled the pin on was already bouncing through Dad's world. He just didn't know it yet. At 10:15 a.m., there was a knock on Leo's door. CPS. A police officer. A court courier with paperwork. The officer spoke first. Mrs. Parker? Hunter is now under your sole emergency custody. Your husband is legally prohibited from contacting him. Mom signed the forms with steady hands. CPS interviewed me again. Asked about past incidents. Showed me pictures Leo's mom took. Documented every bruise, every rib flare, every sign of trauma. Then the courier handed my mother a thick envelope. Temporary restraining order. Effective immediately. Mom thanked him, closed the door quietly, and exhaled. He's going to lose his mind, she said calmly. Good. Then around noon, while she was helping me pack my few things into a duffel bag, Dad finally figured out something was happening. My phone, still cracked from being slammed earlier, buzzed again and again. Dad? Where are you? Get home now. We need to talk. Hunter, this is your last chance. If you do not come back, I swear. Mom took the phone from my hand, blocked the number, and set it face down. He's not your problem anymore, she said. He's mine. And I'm going to bury him in paperwork until he begs for mercy. That scared me a little. But mostly, it felt like breathing clean air for the first time in years. She moved us into a hotel for a few nights, clean room, warm blankets, no yelling, no slamming doors. No Damon. The next morning, she let me pick breakfast from room service. Pancakes. Bacon. Hot chocolate. I hadn't tasted anything that good in a long time. While I ate, Mom sat at the little hotel desk with her laptop open, talking to her lawyer again. Yes, file for full custody. Yes, request supervised visitation only. Yes, file for exclusive right to the house. She paused. And yes, subpoena the school. I want Damon's disciplinary file and computer access logs. That boy has been lying for years. Time to see how deep it goes. That made me choke on my bacon a little. Mom didn't just want to save me. She wanted the truth. All of it. She wanted everyone exposed. And she wasn't stopping until the entire rotten structure my dad and Damon had built collapsed under its own weight. Mom wasn't exaggerating when she said she was going to dismantle everything. By Monday morning, Dad's entire world started collapsing like a rotten porch in slow motion. First hit. He tried calling me. Blocked. He tried calling Mom. Also blocked. So he called her sister, my aunt, and Mom answered that call just long enough to say, "Tell Dennis he is not to contact me or my son again unless he wants to go to jail." And she hung up. Second hit. He went to my school to demand answers. Too bad for him, CPS had already contacted the district. The office staff had been instructed not to let him near the building. He stormed in anyway. Security escorted him out. He threatened to sue. Security threatened to call the cops. He left. Third hit. He tried to withdraw money from the joint account. Frozen. He tried to transfer the truck title. Frozen. He tried to take his name off the house insurance. Frozen. Mom had legally sealed every financial exit he had within 48 hours. Leo told me later his dad said, "Your mom plays chess. Your dad plays checkers with missing pieces." But the fourth hit? That was the one that truly broke him. On Wednesday evening, a sheriff's deputy showed up at our hotel. "Ma'am, we served him the divorce papers and emergency custody order." He signed the affidavit acknowledging receipt. Then the deputy added deadpan, "He didn't take it well." Mom's eyebrow twitched, the closest she ever got to a smile back then. But she didn't react. She just said, "Good." Even though my ribs still hurt when I breathed, I couldn't deny the strange warmth blooming in my chest. Someone was fighting for me. Not just out of obligation. Out of absolute conviction. Mom went full tactical. She told me, "We're finding you a new school. Somewhere Damon can't touch you." I nodded. "Okay. And you're getting counseling. Real counseling. Not the church nonsense your father wanted." "Okay. And you're never stepping foot in that house again unless I say it's safe." "Okay." She gave me a long look. "You don't have to be brave right now." My throat tightened. I didn't know how to respond. It didn't matter. She pulled me gently into her arms. "Hunter, you survived something no child should ever go through. But you're not alone anymore. I'm here. For real this time." I nodded into her shoulder, trying not to cry. Then Friday morning came. And everything went nuclear. A voicemail from Ruth, her lawyer. "We received something from the school district. You're going to want to come in." We drove to Ruth's office. She had a stack of documents on the table. I mean a stack. A literal binder full of pages. Ruth steepled her fingers. "It appears your son wasn't the only victim in that household." Mom frowned. "What do you mean?" Ruth slid the binder toward us. It was full of IT logs, disciplinary notes, classroom reports, emails between teachers, all involving Damon. I felt my stomach twist. "What is all this?" Mom asked. Ruth looked at her with a steady, almost clinical gaze. "It's proof your older son has been manipulating systems, falsifying records, and exploiting staff for over a year." Mom stared, stunned. Ruth continued. "He didn't just lie about Hunter. He lied to everyone. And he did it with the confidence of someone who has never been held accountable." Mom leaned back slowly. "Oh my God!" she whispered. "What did he do?" Ruth opened the binder to a flag page. "Everything," she said simply. "He did everything." And then she looked at me. "Hunter, are you ready to take some of your power back?" My heart thudded. Because I knew exactly what she meant. Mom wasn't just burning Dad's world down. She wanted Damon exposed too. Fully. Completely. No more shadows. No more lies. No more easy escapes. And for the first time in my life, I wanted that too. Ruth turned the binder so it faced me and Mom. Page after page of Damon's name. Infractions. Suspicious grade changes. Teacher complaints. Computer access logs showing someone using an account they absolutely should not have had access to. Mom's jaw tightened with every page. But Ruth wasn't done. She pointed to a highlighted column. "These are timestamps from the school's grading portal. Do they look familiar?" I felt my breath catch. They matched the entries in my notebook, the ones where Damon framed me for something and Dad punished me because. Damon's a good kid who wouldn't lie. Every time Damon accused me. Every time Dad believed him. Every time I got shoved, slapped, grounded, humiliated. Damon had been busy somewhere else altering grades, erasing absences, fabricating fake achievements. He'd built an entire alternate academic reality for himself. Mom's voice was barely above a whisper. He was doing all this, while Hunter was getting blamed. Ruth nodded. And now the district is pressing charges. Mom blinked. Criminal charges? Yes. Computer fraud. academic tampering, identity misuse. If he were 18, these would be felonies. Mom leaned back, stunned. He's 17. Which means, Ruth said, juvenile court. But if he keeps going down this road, he'll graduate to the adult system very quickly. I didn't feel vindicated. Not yet. Just numb. Like my brain was trying to restart after years of being told somehow it was always my fault. Ruth closed the binder gently. Hunter, you've endured abuse from both your father and your brother for years. This is not retribution. This is accountability. Mom looked at me. Her eyes were soft, but serious. Honey, we don't have to pursue this. You say the word, and we'll walk away from this part. Damon will still face consequences from the school, but we won't press anything further. My chest tightened. Mom wasn't pushing me. She was letting me choose. For the first time ever. I swallowed. No, I said quietly. I'm not protecting him anymore. The room went still. Mom nodded once. Then we moved forward. And just like that, the decision was made. But fate wasn't done. Not even close. Because that evening, while Mom was ordering takeout for the hotel room, my phone lit up with a number I didn't recognize. For a moment, I thought maybe it was Leo. But when I answered, I heard breathing. Not heavy. Not angry. Just broken. Hunter? A voice said. Dad. My heart dropped into my stomach. I just need to talk to you, he said, voice uneven. Damon told me everything. My mouth went dry. Everything what? That he lied, Dad whispered. About the watch. About you. About everything for years. They showed me the evidence today. A long pause. I didn't know, he said. I swear to God, Hunter, I didn't know. He sounded small. Deflated. Like the world had finally shown him a mirror, and he didn't like what he saw. I'm so sorry, he choked out. I didn't mean to, I didn't think, I didn't know he. Mom snatched the phone out of my hand so fast she nearly took a finger with it. No, she said coldly. You don't get to apologize to him. Not after what you did. I know, he said. But please. I just want him to hear me. Once. Please. Mom's voice became steel. You beat our child unconscious. You threw him outside in a blizzard. You believed every lie that monster fed you and you never once questioned it. You don't get access to him. Not now. Not ever. I'm begging you. Dad said. Please. No, Mom said. That word is going to save my son's life from now on. And you're going to hear it again and again until you understand. She ended the call. Blocked him. Turned the phone off. Then she sat beside me on the hotel bed. Are you okay? I nodded slowly. But, inside, something was unraveling. Some deep knot I'd been carrying for years. Dad believed Damon over me every time. Every lie. Every setup. Every accusation. He chose Damon. And Damon nearly got me killed. But now, with everything collapsing around him, Dad was suddenly seeing what it cost me. And for a second, just a second, I felt something I didn't expect. Not forgiveness. Not anger. Just grief. Grief for the dad I never had. Grief for the boy I had been. Grief for the years no one listened. Mom pulled me into a hug. You're safe now, she whispered. And he can't hurt you again. For the first time since all of this started, I believed her. But the storm wasn't over. Because Damon hadn't said a word yet. And when he finally did, everything exploded again. Damon finally broke his silence the next morning. Not with an apology. Not with remorse. But with rage. Mom and I were eating breakfast in the hotel lobby, just eggs, toast, nothing dramatic, when my phone lit up with a number I didn't recognize. I shouldn't have answered. But some part of me knew exactly who it was. I picked up. Damon didn't even wait for hello. You ruined my life! The volume made people in the lobby turn. My stomach clenched. I didn't ruin anything, I said quietly. You did. Oh, shut up, Damon snapped. You think you're some hero now? Mom's golden boy? You're nothing, Hunter. Nothing. And you always will be. Mom reached for the phone, but I shook my head. I wanted to hear this. I lost my college acceptance, Damon shouted. Do you know what that means? Do you? Yes, I said calmly. It means actions have consequences. He let out a bitter laugh. You set me up, he hissed. You've been out to get me for years. Don't think I don't know what you're doing. I didn't touch your grades, I said. You did. I didn't destroy the watch. You did. I didn't lie. You did. You little freak. He spat. You tattled to Mom. You tattled to the school. You TT. His voice cracked. That's when I realized something. Damon didn't sound angry. He sounded terrified. His entire identity, perfect son, perfect student, Dad's favorite, untouchable, was collapsing. And he couldn't blame Dad. Couldn't blame the school. Couldn't blame himself. So he blamed me. You think this makes us even? He snarled. After everything? After Dad. His words cut off. Silence. Then quieter shaking. You should have just taken it. You always took it before. My blood went cold. He expected me to keep taking it. All of it. The lies. The punishments. The beatings he caused. The years of being the scapegoat so he could be the golden child. Mom stood up, walked over, took the phone. Her voice was glacial. You listen to me, Damon. Silence on the line. You are never to contact Hunter again. Not by phone. Not online. Not in person. Not through anyone. He tried to talk. Mom didn't let him. You almost got your brother killed. And you didn't care. You watched it happen. Her voice cracked, not with sadness. With fury. You are sick, Damon. You need help. And you're not going to get it from us. Not anymore. His voice came back, small now. Mom, please. No. Just one word. But it hit like a hammer. She ended the call. Blocked the number. Sat back down beside me. For a few seconds neither of us spoke. Then Mom whispered, I should have stopped him years ago. I shook my head. He hid it. He manipulated everyone. You too, she said softly. Especially you. Because you're kind. And he used that against you. My throat tightened. But before I could answer, her phone rang. Her lawyer, Ruth. She put the call on speaker. Just got news, Ruth said. Your husband's attorney called. He wants to negotiate. Mom raised a brow. Why the sudden urgency? Ruth actually chuckled. Because the school district filed a criminal referral for Damon this morning. And your husband is terrified of what a trial will reveal. Mom nodded slowly. Good. Let him sweat. Ruth continued. He's willing to give you the house, half his retirement, full custody, and child support without contest. Mom blinked. That's everything. Yes, Ruth said. He knows he'll lose in court. Badly. Then, there's one more thing. Mom stiffened. What now? He wants one supervised visit with Hunter before the divorce finalizes. My breath stopped. Mom looked at me. Then back at the phone. No, she said immediately. But Ruth cleared her throat. Legally, we can deny it. But strategically, it might be wise to allow one supervised visit. In a controlled space. He'll sign the rest of the settlement faster. Mom didn't even hesitate. No. My son is not a bargaining chip. It's up to Hunter. Ruth cut in. Mom froze. Slowly, she turned to me. Her eyes were soft. Worried. Protective. You don't owe him anything. She whispered. Not 1 second. Not one word. And I didn't. But something in me. Some piece of the kid who had spent years trying to be good enough. Wanted closure. I swallowed hard. I'll do it, I said quietly. One visit. Supervised. Mom closed her eyes, pained. Are you sure? I nodded. Because for the first time ever. He didn't get to define the conversation. I did. And I was ready. Or at least, I needed to be. Because that final meeting? It wouldn't go how anyone expected. I thought the supervised visit with my dad would be the last ripple, the final disturbance before the water finally went calm. But life doesn't clean itself up that neatly. 3 weeks later, the high school held its spring music showcase, my first real performance since everything fell apart. New school, new band, new life. Mom sat in the front row with Leo's parents, all of them filming like I was about to headline Madison Square Garden. I was backstage with my sticks tapping lightly against my knee, running the rhythm in my head, when a teacher poked her head in. Hunter? There's someone here asking for you. My stomach dropped. But it wasn't Dad. It was Damon. Standing outside in the sunlight, hands shoved deep into the pockets of a hoodie that was 2 sizes too big, face thinner than I'd ever seen it. Not confident. Not smug. Just small. He looked up when I stepped outside. For a moment, neither of us said anything. Just wind, the muffled buzz of conversation from inside, and the faint thump of bass through the gym wall. Finally, he spoke. You really ruined my life. I almost laughed. Almost. I crossed my arms. I ruined your life? Damon, you destroyed your own future. I just stopped you from dragging me down with you. He looked away. His jaw tightened. Dad says you turned Mom against us. Says you lied? I shook my head. Dad's still lying to you. He'll lie until he loses the last person who'll listen. He didn't argue. Not this time. He kicked at the pavement once, swallowed, then said, Why'd you have to go that far? The school, the recordings, everything. You could have just kept your head down. There it was. The old Damon. The one who honestly believed he was entitled to ruin me, as long as I didn't make a big deal of it. I stepped closer. Because you didn't just screw with my grades. You watched Dad beat me. You watched him throw me outside in a blizzard. And you smiled. His face twitched. A tiny crack. I didn't think he'd go that far. Yeah, I said softly. That's the problem. You don't think. You just do whatever gets you ahead. He finally met my eyes. Do you hate me? Not anymore, I said. I don't waste energy on people who don't exist in my life. He blinked. That one landed. Then he took a slow breath. I'm trying to fix things. Dad wants me to help him with bills, but I'm thinking of moving out. Maybe starting over. Somewhere else. I nodded. That's good. He hesitated. You think I can come back from all that? I don't know, I said honestly. But you can start by being a better person than the one who left that house. For the first time in years, Damon didn't have a comeback. He just nodded once, turned, and walked away, hands still buried in that oversized hoodie. I watched him go, not with satisfaction, not with anger, but with a strange, quiet clarity. Some stories don't end with revenge. Some don't end with apologies. Some don't end at all. They just shift. The gym doors opened behind me. Hunter! Mom called. We're up! I stepped inside. My band was already on stage. My drum kit waited. Spotlights warmed the air. My sticks felt right in my hands. I took my seat, tapped the snare, looked into a crowd filled with people who actually cared about me. Then the conductor raised his hand. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like a background character. I felt like someone who survived. Someone who rebuilt. Someone who mattered. I lifted my sticks. And played. The performance lit something in me I didn't know I'd been missing. Not just pride, existence. For years, everything in my life had been about survival. Keeping my head down. Avoiding conflict. Enduring whatever Damon or Dad threw at me. But on that stage, under the warm lights, drumsticks in my hands, surrounded by people who actually wanted me there, I felt real. When the final cymbal crash faded, the crowd erupted. Mom stood first. Of course she did, clapping like the universe depended on it. Leo whistled loud enough to get glares from two grandmas. Even the conductor gave me a small nod of respect. That night, for the first time since everything happened, I didn't feel like the kid who got thrown out in a blizzard. I felt like someone with a future. And a week later, that future took its first real shape. I was in the new house's kitchen, making pancakes badly, when Mom called out. Mail came. She tossed an envelope onto the counter. University logo. My chest tightened. I tore it open. Then froze. Hunter? Mom stepped closer. What is it? I handed her the letter. She read the first line, gasped, and threw a hand over her mouth. You got in, she whispered. Full tuition scholarship. Oh my God, Hunter, you got in. I didn't realize I was crying until she pulled me into a hug. You earned this, she said fiercely. Nobody gave it to you. And nobody can take it away. That hit harder than she knew. Because the loudest lie Dad ever taught me was that I was less capable, less deserving, less important. It took 8 years, a blizzard, and one hell of a fight to finally unlearn that. But there was one last person I needed closure from. My grandmother, Dad's mom. The one whose watch Damon destroyed. The one Dad used as a weapon that night. The one person who deserved the truth. I asked Mom for her address. She hesitated. You sure? Yeah. I need to do this. Grandma lived 40 minutes away in a quiet neighborhood full of retirees who walked tiny dogs and waved at everyone. She opened the door slowly. 80 years old. Sharp eyes. Softer voice than I remembered. Hunter? Oh, sweetheart, you've gotten so tall. She pulled me inside before I could second-guess myself. We sat at her kitchen table, same floral tablecloth she'd had since I was 6. I told her everything. All of it. The lies. The beating. The blizzard. Damon's confession under oath. Dad's downfall. She didn't interrupt. Didn't argue. Didn't defend her son. When I finished, she wiped her eyes. I always knew Dennis was capable of cruelty, she said quietly, but I never imagined he would do that to his own child. She reached across the table, took my hand. Hunter, none of this was your fault. And nothing Damon did changes the fact that you survived something many grown men wouldn't. I nodded, throat tight. Then she said something that stuck with me. You broke the cycle. That's what matters. Before I left, she gave me something. A small box. Inside was her late husband's cufflink set, silver, engraved with initials I shared. I want these to go to someone who'll honor them, she said. Not destroy them. I hugged her. Hard. When I got home, Mom saw the box in my hand. You okay? She asked. Yeah, I said. And for the first time, it was true. She smiled softly. Good. Because we're not done building this new life. I smirked. What's next? More IKEA furniture? She laughed. Maybe. But first, celebration dinner. You pick. Leo chimed in from the living room. Dude, Olive Garden. Breadsticks for days. Mom sighed. God help me. I looked around our new house. Warm. Light. Safe. My house. My life. My future. Survival wasn't my story anymore. This was rebuilding. Thriving. Becoming. And Dad and Damon? They weren't even characters in the next chapter. Just shadows in a story that no longer belonged to them. The night before I left for college, Mom and I sat on the porch steps of our little house. the one we built our new life in. Crickets humming, warm summer air, that quiet peace you only appreciate after surviving chaos. She nudged my shoulder. You ready? I smiled. Yeah. I think I finally am. Inside, my bags were packed. Drumsticks sticking out the side pocket. Grandma's cufflinks tucked safely into my backpack. Proof of where I came from, and where I was going. My phone buzzed once. A number I didn't recognize. Damon. A single text. I'm trying to be better. I hope you have a good life, Hunter. I stared at it for a long moment. Then I deleted it. Not out of anger. Out of closure. Because my life wasn't tied to his anymore. Or Dad's. Or the house where I spent years trying to survive. Mom slipped her arm around me. You know, she said, I'm proud of you. Not for what you've done. For who you've become. I swallowed hard. Thanks, Mom. The next morning, as we drove toward campus, sun rising behind us, I felt something lift, something heavy that had lived in my ribs for years. For the first time in my life, the future didn't scare me.